Hey everyone, so Neuvillette has been out for quite a while, and I think it's about time that I could give my personal thoughts on what I actually think about him. So, there's a great debate, and a lot of people want to know if he actually power crept the meta. And I wouldn't really say like power creep it, but he did something that a lot of the other Hydro units, well, nowadays, we only have like two main Hydro DPS. Some people consider Child of mostly being a Hydro enabler. Well, Ayato is like more of a DPS compared to Child, but let's just consider them main DPS just to keep things simple. Now, the biggest difference that I see a lot of people not actually talking about is that Neuvillette damage by himself straight up power creeps the both of them, which is actually kind of justifiable if that's a word, because Child and Ayato have so much synergy with other units that we have in our account. Let's say for Ayato you have Yunjin, you have Bennett. That's two of the greatest buffs that you could give a normal attacking character. Child, while yes, his personal damage by himself is not the greatest, when you do group up enemies, he tends to have this very unique mechanic compared to the rest, where his riptides seems to flow between each of the enemies and doing like massive amounts of damage. It's small ticks, but it really adds up to be a lot. Their synergy with specific OP units, like one of 1010's greatest waifus of all times, Zhanglin, it's uncomparable. Again, is that a word? We use these kinds of words together in my country and it makes sense. It's very uncomparable to what Neuvillette with a team could do. Now, I'm not saying that he can't use a team like that, but it seems like those characters, they synergize a lot more better. And plus, it's kind of wasting using Bennett in a team with Neuvillette, since while yes, he will be buffing up Zhanglin too, Neuvillette will not take advantage of any attack buffs. You could just use Bennett in another team. And I think like Hoyoverse takes a lot of this into consideration, that they look at what we already have. Sorry if you hear any dogs in the background, can't help it. It's 4 a.m. in the morning. I don't know why they are awake still. So they took into consideration that Neuvillette won't be able to synergize with some of the meta teams that we have right now. I'm not saying that they won't work, but it's much better to use a national team with Child or Ayato. So what they did, they buffed up and they made sure that his damage could make up for that loss of off-field DPS that the team would have taken advantage of. Sorry, bro. Can this dog just shut up? That's the Doom posters them about Furina right now. One thing that I do appreciate about Neuvillette is that he made a lot of characters, say like Fischl and even Yaimiko, great off-field units that haven't been seeing much light nowadays. I mean, yes, there is Dendro and they are very good, but he kind of made them relevant again, where using them in a non-Dendro team is actually a benefit. The greatest weakness though that I see that Neuvillette has is that he can't use really strong units like Yelan and Sensho. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Beidou. He made Beidou relevant again. That's why I think like Neuvillette team hasn't been complete as yet. You know, like every specific main DPS, they have this meta team. I don't feel like Neuvillette has that as yet. And I really think that Hoyoverse is going to sell us a lot of these pieces to his puzzle. So in the form of Bennett, we are getting Furina. I really think that she will be an essential for Neuvillette. It's not needed. When I mean essential, it will be like the pairing of two of them will be so great, like a Kazuha and Bennett together. Although I know Kazuha is a support as well. Let's say like Zhanglin and Bennett. Two of them, while yes, there is a little bit of restriction with Neuvillette and his draconic glories or whatever you call it, the stacks. I sure by now it has proven that you don't need a team with all of the other elements to trigger his stacks. He could passively get this because majority of the enemies in this game, they seem to have some form of infused element that he could or any of the other team members in his team react to, and basically granting the stacks for him. Bro, that Doom posting is still going on in the background. Okay, so just to close it off here, I'm tired. I hate that noise. I think just shut up, please. Yeah, so while to just close it off, in terms of personal damage, yes, he power crept whatever Hydro units we have right now, which isn't actually a bad thing, because when you take into consideration a full team, that's where he kind of falls off. If he didn't have this damage, but he does have this damage, so it does balance out. And again, I love when they do this. They try to keep keep him low accurate. He's a very, very powerful being, and Tevat, he should be really strong. When you have majority of the player base questioning if Furina is the Archon or if he is Archon, well, that's basically why, because of how strong he is. It's not like he breaks the game in any way. I don't think that we got a unit that breaks the game. I think like the closest one is maybe Nahida with her crazy Dendro application and her utility for Dendro teams, and outside of Dendro too, she's a great elemental mastery buff. What will happen next after this? Well, that will be the conclusion of this, and I think like he will reach up to the level. He's already past the level with his personal damage, and it seems like clear times and stuff is just so fantastic with just him being the only person in the team doing damage. So till that day come, man, it's gonna be pretty wild to see how the Dragon Sovereign takes on Celestia with a full team. But yeah, leave it awesome below what you think about Neuvillette. Hit a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. You doom posting, quiet down. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Stars shining really, moon visions in my sight, landing nowhere within sight. Had to take her with me, she was tasty to my sight, so I had a couple